guys, Ash here, coming at you today with a Town Hall 9 Valkyrie guide for lower level heroes and for lower level Valkyries. We'll be covering 3 main strategies today: Shattered GoVaHo, Queen Walk GoVaHo, and Queen Walk into Mass Valk. We'll discuss also when to use each and the objectives, like when to add a Queen Walk to your normal raid. Now, adding a Queen Walk we can just cover right now will be very good for taking out an enemy queen that is along the perimeter of the base, and a Queen Walk is awesome to establish a funnel on one side for the Valkyries. We'll also discuss when to add hogs and the benefits of a straight up mass Valkyrie attack. So what do you say, let's hop right into it. So against this base here by Doctor, you can see the enemy heroes are pretty high level considering his heroes are only level 10, and guess what guys, his Valkyries are only level 1. So certainly with all these upgraded lava walls here, the base does look a little bit intimidating, but upon further examination, you can see that the splash damage isn't all the way leveled up, and some of those cannons certainly aren't either. So this is actually a great base to target despite the intimidation factor of those lava walls. Now you can see that creating the funnel should be your #1 priority on any of these attacks. If you hit a nice wide spread out base like this, be sure to take time, use 2 golems like Doctor did here, and go ahead and make sure all your troops funnel to the center of the base. Now as we watch this play, we're going to cover 2 main topics on this replay. One is how to create a perfect funnel, and 2 is why even bother adding hogs to this raid. But what about this base makes the attacker choose to use hog riders? So number 1, creating the funnel. That's obviously the #1 discipline you want to learn, not just for Valkyrie attacks, but that's going to help you out in any ground attack basically throughout the game, throughout all the way from Town Hall 8 all the way to Town Hall 11. So what you want to do is, like Doctor did here, you can use 2 golems. That's called Shattered. So Shattered GoVaHo is using 2 golems, Valkyries, and hogs. As you can see, the hogs were used midway through the raid. Now using 2 golems really allows the attacker plenty of time to deploy those golems, a little bit of space in between the golems so you can distract all the defenses around, and then you deploy a nice line of wizards. It's probably not going to be all your wizards because you want to hold a few back for cleanup. As you can see here, Doctor did a great job of that. 1 wizard at the top, 1 wizard at the bottom. But what you can do is allow those wizards to do some damage before you deploy your wall breakers or your jump spell. And then once all those distracting units are destroyed outside the perimeter of the base, you'll have a nice, clean, easy lane for the Valkyries to go ahead and enter the core, and that's what you call a nice funnel, right? So I never got to the point of why we added hogs to that raid, so we'll cover that a little bit in this raid, but let's first talk about why we're starting out with a Queen Walk, especially because we only have a level 5 queen here. Now, a level 5 queen would be the absolute minimum that you'd want to do a Queen Walk with, because you do have the Royal Cloak ability, albeit a level 1 ability. But why did the attacker RJIII decide to start it out with a Queen Walk? Well, it's pretty easy. When the defender puts their queen so close to the perimeter edge of a base, you should certainly take advantage of a Queen Walk, especially if you have the Royal Cloak ability, at least a level 5 queen, and you should plan on bringing a rage spell, especially if you do have low level heroes, and you probably do because you're watching this video. So make sure you bring a rage spell. You have 2 tools as a Queen Walk user to protect your queen and keep her alive, and keeping her alive is absolutely paramount, right? So tool number 1 is obviously the Royal Cloak ability, makes her invisible for a second, the troops will lose contact with her, and then number 2 is the rage spell. Just make sure you use the rage spell on the healers primarily, and of course try to encompass the queen too if you can, but it's important to make sure that rage goes on the healers and not the queen. Now you can see that the queen actually did a great job of clearing out the whole western part of the base all around 9 o'clock, and that is another benefit to the Queen Walk. The Queen Walk, like I discussed earlier, helps maintain and create a beautiful funnel for the rest of your troops. As you can see, the Valkyries made their way all the way into the core, using the Golem as well as the Barbarian King for a bit of a meat shield. Now let's talk about the Hogs. You can see that RJIII again deployed the Hogs from around 10 o'clock or so. Now he brought a heal spell, but didn't necessarily even need it here, as that Golem is distracting the only only splash damage left on the board. So this is a very nice win. So why did we use hogs against this base and the last base? It's pretty simple. I find that bases that are very, very spread out, such as those bases that have a lot of different compartments and obviously are going to cause more hindrances for your Valkyries as they funnel through the base, those bases I prefer bringing some hogs for the back end, because the hogs obviously can jump over the walls and you don't have to worry about the Valkyries having to break into every single compartment to take out those high value defensive structures. Instead, you can rely on the hogs, and they'll also help in the cleanup as well. Obviously, double giant bombs should be your #1 priority with hogs as well, so if there are a lot of double giant bomb spots that you can't trigger with the beginning portion of your attack, namely your golem, your heroes, and your Valkyries, then you should consider not bringing hogs and transitioning maybe to a mass Valkyrie attack, or you should reconsider your point of entry so you can trigger more giant bombs and give the hogs obviously a great shot at doing some damage without running into the giant bombs. Obviously, you want to help in areas that is normally locked off or very tough to get to for your Valkyries. Now, against this base, you can see General Tin noticed two things about it. A, the walls are pretty underleveled, and B, there's not a lot of separate compartments. It is a little bit spread out, but there's not a lot of compartments, so the Valkyries pretty much are not going to have a lot of issues getting around once they funnel to the center of the base, because that's what can create those roadblocks for you. So if you're a first-time Valk user, or you have low-level heroes and you want to incorporate Valkyries into your war raids, the first thing you should obviously do is upgrade your Valkyries, upgrade your Queen to level 5, and then look for bases on the enemy map like this. Bases that are a little bit under-leveled, a little bit rushed, or a little bit spread out, and go ahead and use one of these troop combinations that I shared with you guys today. So guys, that's going to do it for today's episode. Thank you so much for hanging out with me and talking a little Clash. I hope you picked up a good tip or two. So guys, thanks so much for watching, and as always, take care.